Hello everyone and welcome to the WCS League, round 3 of the WCS GP series. This is season 4, round 3 from the Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit. Today we're currently in the middle of a qualifying session which will determine the grid order for today's race. And it's going to be an exciting one. The Indianapolis GP circuit is one of the most famous racetracks in the world, or Indianapolis is, of course. Being the site of the very famous Indianapolis 500 race on the oval, but today we're using the GP circuit that they used for Formula 1 back in the 2000s, and we're just watching Roy Vizil here on a flying lap. It's not Roy Vizil, actually it's Casper Onwin, so ignore me on that one. But anyway. And he is showing us a lap of the circuit. Watch this interior part of the course. This is a left-hand hairpin. Quite difficult. I've been watching drivers struggling for grip here all the way through practice. And then a right-hand, well, almost hairpin as well, but it feels like a flick when you're driving it onto the long back straight. Then we have a chicane. It goes left and then right. There's the right part. Not really a chicane, bit of a distance between the two. Very tight couple of corners there. But when we exit that, we will be heading out onto the oval part of the circuit. Currently, with less than 9 minutes remaining in the qualifying session, it's Laurent Keersmakers at the top of the order, as very often is the case. He's followed by Danny van der Neer, Bastian Paisler, Peter Jones and Andrei Boratovsky. In the order at the minute. Those are the top 5, and our championship leader Wopke Hoekstra is only 7th at the minute. Interestingly, of course, the WCS League guys, Wopke Hoekstra and Lorenzo De Chutis, missed the last round of this championship, and today we do only have one CM Tech guy, and that is Wopke Hoekstra. He's still leading the championship, but only due to drop scores coming into play. So drop scores being that you drop your 2 worst scores from the championship so far. So due to there being only 4 races so far, Wopke Hoekstra is still out in front of the official championship. Out in front in terms of points though is Roy Vizil, who is currently 3rd in the championship, and he is our effective championship leader if you look at it in that way, in 3rd position. So look out for Roy Vizil today, as well as Laurent Keersmakers and Wopke Hoekstra. They're both big contenders in this championship. And also look out for other drivers who have technically scored more points than Wopke. Those include Peter Jones in the Slyfox car and Menno Klont in the Racing Team Schroten car. So the championship order a bit messed up at the minute, a bit all over the place. Some drivers out of position, but anyway. I want to switch up the order actually to Bastian Paisler, who's coming out of the final corner, because Paisler is about to cross the line to set a quick lap, I believe. And as he sets the time, I'm just going to have a look at what the lap is. It's not actually an improvement. He backed off out of that. In fact, I'm not entirely sure whether that was a lap at all, because he lost a lot of time in the 2nd sector, but he did set the fastest 1st sector of anyone, and now he's on another lap. So let's watch Bastian Paisler and see what he's capable of here. Also going quickly in the 1st sector, Wopke Hoekstra there, who's just pitted actually, but Wopke Hoekstra had set his personal best. It's been a disappointing day for Wopke so far. I don't think he's practiced much for this race. Oh, as Bastian Paisler backs out of his lap there. Let's go down to Dan Hutt, who's improving his lap in the slipstream there of another car. That's one of the ST Racing cars he's slipstreaming down the straight. And Dan Hutt's going to cross the line here. I imagine this is an improvement. It is. It puts him up to 11th position. So a good improvement there for Dan Hutt. Here's Mark Fuller in the ST car. So that means the car that Hutt was following must have been Kevin Peters. But this here, Mark Fuller in the ST Racing car, has just improved on his 1st sector time. He's currently 14th in the order out of the 18 cars we have here today. And already improving in both the 1st and 2nd sectors. So where will this lap put Mark Fuller? He's got 1 corner to go. It's a flat out right-hander, the final corner, and the 1 corner that overlaps with the oval except we do this in the other direction, to the direction that they'd be doing in the Indianapolis 500, which takes place in the month of May every year. And across the line goes Mark Fuller, and he does improve his lap, but he doesn't move up the order, so an improvement in terms of time, but not in terms of position. Casper Onwin is also improving his lap so far, but I want to have a look actually at Laurent Kiersmakers. He's just had a big slide, but Kiersmakers had set his best first sector. He's lost time in the second sector. This might still be quicker. He's got a slipstream from the car in front. That's a green car, so maybe a Slyfox entry. And as he comes out of the final corner, this is going to be his lap. And is that an improvement for our leader? No, it isn't. So no improvement there. What about Casper Onwin? He's currently 17th in the order, so he has a lot of time to make up, and I don't think he's going to do it on this lap, seeing as he's lost a lot of time in the second sector. Indeed, he doesn't, and he's actually... I tell you what he's actually doing. Look at that. That's Roy Vazil going past. He was giving him a slipstream. That's why he didn't back... He's hit him! My goodness, that didn't go to plan. Well, I tell you what, that was an ingenious plan that was very much ruined by Casper Onwin driving pretty poorly there. But... it seemed that the performance racing cars had put their cars on, or the performance racing team rather, had put their cars on track in such an order, in such a position that Onwin was set to give Brazil a slipstream, but he ran into the back of him at turn 1. Menno Klomp, meanwhile, moves up to 4th position ahead of Peter Jones. He also set the fastest second sector time of anyone on that lap. Going quickly in the second sector, though, is Danny van der Neer. He's coming through the third sector now, and as he crosses the line, Danny van der Neer is going to go quicker and gets very close to the time of Laurent Kiersmakers. I tell you what, the gap for the lead is just 0.013. That's a very close gap for first position in this session. Fantastic. Oh, I tell you what, look at who's going quickest now. Roy Schroten is backed off. Roy Schroten was going very quickly. He'd set the fastest second sector time of anyone, but he's backed off of that lap. May have made a mistake. We're watching Dan Hutt here. Dan Hutt in 11th position, as we have under 3 minutes of qualifying to go now. He's going around the tight sector 2 and gets on the grass, and he's going to lose that lap. So Dan Hutt loses the lap. Oh, it's Danny van der Neer puts in a cracker in the second sector. Let's go up to Danny van der Neer. There he is. He's actually just set his lap and loses it at turn 1. That was not an improvement. I tell you what, I missed it. It wasn't van der Neer, it was Paisler. And as Paisler crosses the line, will this go to pole? We'll see as the order updates. No, in fact, it wasn't actually an improvement. He lost out 3/10 in the other sectors. Laurent Kiersmakers goes fastest in the first sector. Laurent Kiersmakers, who's currently at the top of the order, goes fastest again in the first sector. And only has to keep it together for the next 2 sectors now. He needs a bit of a buffer. Van der Neer, Van der Neer, it's very close in terms of time. That wasn't the ideal line through there, very sideways. Four-wheel drifting it. Now into the final sector. He might get a distant slipstream there from Wupke Hoekstra up ahead. Hoekstra just setting up for one last lap from him. And that's going to be a vitally important one for our championship leader, who's only 5th at the minute. Here's Laurent through the final corner. And Roy Vazil, meanwhile, sets the fastest second sector time of anyone. So we've got several drivers on quick laps here. What does Kiersmakers set? He lost a little bit of time in the second sector, and it's not an improvement. Now let's switch down to Roy Vazil. Whoa, big slide there for Menno Klomp. But here, that's Peter Jones. Here's Roy Vazil. And as Vazil rather crosses the line, surely that was an improvement. Yeah, it was. In fact, that's moved him ahead of Peter Jones. So a jump there. And we only have 1 minute left in the session now. Where's Eric Stanford? Here's Eric Stanford. He's improving his time in Sector 1 so far, 25.9. That's actually on par with the last time that Menno Klomp said in that sector. Out of the twisty part of the circuit. And around the final couple of corners goes Roy Vazil. Not Roy Vazil, Eric Stanford. Roy Schroten also hoping to improve his lap, as is Kevin Peters. But Stanford's going to set his first. He's 12th at the minute. Does he jump ahead of Dan Hurt? They're very close in the order. We wait for the times to update. And Eric Stanford did not improve. What about Roy Schroten's backed out? I'm looking for Wopke Hoekstra now. Here's Hoekstra. And Hoekstra setting his final lap is going to go. Well, does he improve with that? No, he doesn't. I've just noticed though, 6th place goes to Lorenzo De Chutis. Now, De Chutis wasn't even in the server a couple of minutes ago, so it's very relieving to see him here. Interestingly, Keersmakers, Van der Neer and Peisler are all not on circuit at the minute. So it seems to me as if Laurent Keersmakers has this pole position wrapped up. Now where's Peter Jones? He's improving his lap here as he comes through the final corner. Improved his second sector anyway. And Peter Jones is going to come out of the final corner and down the final straight. Let's watch him as he sets the lap. And does he improve? He does! He goes up to 7th. He jumps the championship leader, Wopke Hoekstra, there. So Hoekstra in real trouble, only qualifying 8th there. And that's not very good for his championship contention. He was leading it going into this round and needed to prove that he was capable of that. And it wasn't just drop scores that was putting him there. But I'm afraid he hasn't exactly impressed in this session. And that means that the order is confirmed. Actually, a couple of guys still crossing the line. Theodoros Ezeroglu crosses the line and sets. Now what does Ezeroglu set? It's not an improvement, and he was actually the last car. So that's the lot. It's going to be Laurent Keersmakers on pole position, followed by Danny van der Neert. Then we have Bastian Peisler in 3rd position. There's Bastian. Just putting my order somewhere where I can see it. Let me sit up for this. Right. 4th place on the grid, we have Roy Schroten. He'll be followed by Menno Klont, his teammate. 6th is Lorenzo De Chutis. And then we have Peter Jones, Wopke Hoekstra, our championship leader. Roy Vazil, our points leader, also having an equally disappointing day there. And I tell you what, the championship looks to be turning itself on its head here today. Following him, Andrei Borotovsky, Gerrit de Vries, Dan Hurt, Eric Stanford, and then we have Kevin Peters and Mark Fuller, Theodoros Ezeroglu, Marcel Barr, Casper Oinwin and Roland Hutt makes out the 19 drivers we have here today. That was the qualifying session. Don't go anywhere because we still have 2 races here today at the Indianapolis GP circuit, and they're probably going to be very exciting, so I wouldn't miss them. Last time out we had a fantastically exciting couple of races at the Red Bull Ring, and today we're at Indianapolis. So, welcome back everyone. We're still at Indianapolis as Roy Vazil there goes off. Or I think it's Vazil, it might be Casper Onwin. Yeah, it is Vazil. Anyway, yeah, welcome back everyone to the Indianapolis GP circuit. Today we're here with the WCS League GP series. And we're about to witness 2 races here today, starting with race 1, as you tend to do. Coming up very shortly. In terms of the championship, it's very, very wonky at the minute. The table will tell you it goes Wopke Hoekstra from Laurent Keersmakers, then Vazil, Van der Neert, De Chutis, Jones, Schroten, Stefano, Klont and De Vries, the top 10. But in terms of points, how many they've scored disregarding drop scores is actually Roy Vazil at the top, followed by Laurent Keersmakers, and then Jones and Klont side by side or neck and neck rather for 3rd place, and then Van der Neert, De Vries, and that's as far as I can see for now. But effectively, the order is not what it should be at the minute. In terms of the team standings as well, CM Tech is still at the top despite not scoring any points last time out at the Red Bull Ring. And they have their original lineup of Wopke Hoekstra and Lorenzo De Chutis back today. So they're hoping to get some points back in the bag again. But it's been a pretty disappointing qualifying for them so far. with De Tutis 6th and Hoekstra 8th. And plenty of time to be gained. In terms of the Teams Championship, drop scores do not come into effect, meaning that it's CM Tech at the top, followed by Raceview.NL-GP, and then Racing Team Schroten, Holland Racing Team and Performance Racing. Those are the top 5. And everyone else following on behind. Still close for the top of the Teams Championship though. Only 6 points separate the top 2 teams. In terms of the driver standings, I can't really tell you how many points separate the top drivers because it's all a bit muddled at the minute due to the drop scores, as I keep saying. But the scoreboard will tell you there's 7 points separating Hoekstra and Keersmakers. What it means is there's only 7 points that count separating them. So just a couple of seconds now, just over a minute until this warm-up session ends. Oh, Vasil getting 2 wheels over the grass again, and then we're going to be ready to get going for the start of this race. Hello to everyone watching us today. 182 Craigie says, good evening, good luck to all drivers, looking forward to seeing you all on Monday. I assume that's Craig Patterson, who races of course in the McGann series. Indeed, we will see you on Monday, and good luck to you as well. But good to see you watching today, Craig Patterson, and we hope you enjoy this race. Yeah, he says it is jolly good. I enjoyed a battle at Hockenheim, by the way, in the McGann series, and seeing as I'm not racing in that series anymore, I should thank you for that, for the battles that we had, and yeah, maybe I'll see you on track at some point in the future in another series or another event. But for today, of course, it's all about the WCS GP series. And actually, I believe this will be my last commentary of this series for a while as well. I think I might do some towards the end of this season, but I'm not entirely sure. So the warm-up timer has ticked to 0. The grid is being formed, and we're preparing rather for the start of this race. Again, I'll run you through the grid. It's Laurent Keersmakers at the top of the order, first position in the session. Oh, as everything goes very, very glitchy with my timing screen. Let me just get that back up again, and then I can continue. But it will be Laurent Keersmakers at the front of the order, followed by Danny van der Neert in second position. Let me just get the timing sorted out, and then I'll be right back with you. Right, here we go. So, Laurent Keersmakers, Danny van der Neert, Bastian Peisler, Roy Schroten, Menno Klont, Lorenzo De Tutis, Peter Jones, Wopke Hoekstra, Roy Vasil, Andrei Boratovsky, Kjerk de Vries, Dan Hutt, Eric Stanford, Kevin Peters, and then Mark Fuller, Theodoros Ezeroglu, Marcel Baer, Casper Onwin, and Roland Hutt. Those are 19 drivers, and they're getting underway now for their formation lap here at the Indianapolis GP circuit. There is Laurent Keersmakers out in front in the number 42. Keersmakers, well renowned as the setup genius on this grid. He made a base setup towards the end of last series for the season 3 GP car, and I believe he's made one for this year as well. And I was speaking to Peter Jones about it, and he said it's undrivable, but for the drivers who know how to use it, it's very, very quick. And Laurent Keersmakers, of course, is absolutely a driver who knows how to use it. Second place there, Danny van der Neert, racing for Raceview NL or Raceview.NL GP. last season anyway. This season he's racing, oh yeah, he is racing for the same team, what am I saying? These top two drivers are actually teammates, despite having slightly different liveries. They are both racing for RaceView.NLGP, which was the team that won last year's GP, or last season's GP championship. Third place is Bastian Paisler in the red car there. Good to see him qualifying this far up the order. Then we have Roy Schroten racing for Racing Team Schroten, unsurprisingly, and his teammate Menno Klont in the other Racing Team Schroten car. There's Lorenzo De Chutis returning after a round off. Both the CM Tech guys missed the last round, weaving to warm his tyres. Peter Jones doing exactly the same thing behind him. And there's our championship leader, Wupke Hoekstra. And there's our other championship leader, Roy Vizil, in 9th place. And there's 10th place, Andrei Borotovsky, who I don't believe has raced in this championship yet. So welcome in. And he will be starting from 10th place. It's a good place to start, of course, because the 10th place finisher starts first for race 2. Into the grid box at the back goes Roland Hutt. And we're preparing now for the start of this race. Let's watch for the lights. Lauren Keersmakers is going to lead us away. Here come the lights. When all 5 of them go out, we will be underway. Go! And the race has begun. Lauren Keersmakers leads us away from the grid at the start. Danny van der Neert tried to go around the outside. He's actually got a better start. Watch for Bastian Paisler coming through the middle. That's quite a poor start from Keersmakers, actually. But can he still lead into turn 1? No, because van der Neert's gone around the outside and a slight contact. Vizil goes slightly sideways and somehow saves it. There's more contact in the background. And one of the CM Tech cars goes off. That's the Tutis there from 6th place on the grid, who's run over the gravel on the outside. Van der Neert leads. What's second? Bastian Paisler goes through. Paisler goes through to 2nd. And 3rd place is still inhabited by Lauren Keersmakers, but he's under attack. That's Roy Schroten just behind him there, going for 4th place. As we head onto the back straight, the 2 Racing Team Schroten cars taking looks at the cars in front. And look in the background as well. Something's going to go wrong. Well, Menno Klont loses out of position there. Wupke Hoekstra goes through. There's Peter Jones on the outside, and I see a lot of tyre smoke. Somehow everyone makes it through there. And has it been a clean first lap so far, apart from De Chutis running through the gravel? I believe it has been. So that's great to see. And already watch Bastian Paisler chasing down Danny van der Neert for the top of the order. We'll see if he can stick with him or maybe slipstream his way past him on the straight. It is a long straight with a lot of slipstreaming going on. I'm interested in 4th place as well, as Schroten is under attack from Hoekstra. What's this? Side by side down the straight, Schroten and Hoekstra goes through. So Hoekstra's already passed him, and defending now as Schroten goes to the outside. But Hoekstra has the corner and keeps going in this Indy Lights car. Whoa, around in the background, that's Peter Jones there who spun. Actually, no, it isn't. That's Andrei Borotovsky who spun. So Borotovsky's been round and drops to the very back. And let's have a look at exactly... Oh, I need to sort something out. I always forget to do that. Let's have a look at exactly what is going on. Right, yeah, sorry. Let's have a look at exactly what happened for Andrei Borotovsky now, as he spun to the back of the order. Oh, he's going to go into the back there of Roy Vizil and get spun around. I'm afraid I think that was his fault. Here's what Vizil would have seen of it. Just, yeah, gets clipped in the rear. And that's that. Let's have a look at the start as well as... oh, yeah, there we go. As this was the start on board with Lauren Keersmakers. He would have just seen everyone going past him here, with van der Neert going through on the outside. There he is. And also watch Paisler in his mirrors. There wasn't really much he could have done about that at the start. And kept 2nd for then, but Paisler went through later on. Right, back to real time. We've completed lap 2 and watch Bastian Paisler now. He took a look, but he's still slightly too far back to have an attack, a proper attack at Lauren Keersmakers for 2nd position. Oh wait, wasn't Keersmakers behind Paisler? Actually, yeah, he was. Actually, that's changed. So Lauren Keersmakers there has got back past Bastian Paisler, and here's how it happened on the straight. Just a plain slipstreaming manoeuvre. There he goes. Shoots past Bastian Paisler. And Paisler could have done nothing about that. Watch this. Just you see the overspeed as he goes through. Watch it in the mirror. And there goes Laurent Keersmakers past Bastian Paisler. We're back to real time now, and they're still fighting, in fact, over that second position. And Wopke Hoekstra might be about to join them as well. Slightly dodgy line on the exit. He was trying to get a switchback, but got out of the groove. These cars, of course, Indy Lights cars, they were designed to race American circuits, and Indianapolis is one of the circuits they race. I'm not entirely sure whether they do the Grand Prix circuit. They do a race called the Freedom 100 on the oval. Now watch Wopke Hoekstra going to the outside as we head down the straight, and Hoekstra goes through to third. So Hoekstra up to third already from 8th on the grid. That's a good start to the race. Watch Menno Klont as well, having a look at his teammate, but dropping back. And who else will have an attack going down into turn 1? De Chutis defend. Well, he pulls out of the toe of the car behind, but it seems that everyone has got through. There's Marcel Burr. He seems to have dropped back a bit, and Kevin Peters, I'm afraid, is out of the race. Let's have a look at exactly what happened to Kevin Peters. Oh, was it an incident with his teammate? No, that's actually De Chutis there on the outside. He tagged him mid-corner, and around he went. And did he just lose the engine? No, he's got going again. There's another spinner there, one of the Hurts. But Kevin Peters has just abandoned the race at that point. Now, what happened to Roland Hurt? Roland Hurt was also... Oh, he's going to lose it all on his own there. I don't believe any... Yeah, there was no other car involved in that. That was 2 separate incidents in the space of a corner there. And Roland Hurt dropped behind. So, back to real time. And here's the front of the order. I believe that Hoekstra here is catching Keersmakers, so Hoekstra may have got the hang of this car now, and it may be coming through the order. And as we cross the line this time around, Hoekstra takes a look. In fact, will he dive for second? Not close. No, not yet. Not close enough. But he's very close. He's less than 0.4 of a second off the back of Laurent Keersmakers' car there. As they went across the start-finish line, slight lock-up there through the right-hander. And now Hoekstra's coming under attack from Paisler again. Paisler just behind him. Out onto the back straight. A little bit of slipstreaming can go on here, but it's not long enough for many serious overtaking opportunities. So here's the group of hairpins. Whoa, bit of a slide there for Wopke Hoekstra. He kicks the rear end out. And as we head back onto the start-finish straight, this might give Paisler a slight chance here for third position. We're not really used to seeing Paisler running this high up, so this is a very good showing so far from Bastian. He's in the slipstream down the straight, and Bastian Paisler might well attack for third here. I don't think he's quite close enough. Indeed he isn't, but Paisler right on the back of Wopke Hoekstra here. And we may have had an incident further back because Eric Stanford and Marcel Burr have both dropped back. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, Marcel Burr, I'm afraid, is out of this race. Oh, he's had a hit. And that's going to be a big one in the middle sector of the course. He's got on the grass, he's spun it around, and he's gone into the wall, and he's retired from the race on the spot. What happened as well to Eric Stanford on that lap? Oh, he's had a spin. So Eric Stanford, yeah, there we go. Oh, he's actually run into the back of Casper Onwin. That's a bit clumsy there. Indeed, Eric Stanford very clumsily into the back of Onwin on the exit of the corner. Just runs into him. And they both spin around. And Onwin could have done nothing about that. Watch this. He just gets propped up. Round he goes, whether he likes it or not. And Onwin drops to 14th place. Oh, and round as well goes Dan Hutt there. So Dan Hutt's been for a spin. Just got over the curb and unsettled it. There we go. So Dan Hutt out of 15th position, spins the car around. And he's got it going again, but he's down in 17th place. So Dan Hutt's dropped a long way down. Still Bastian Paisler behind Wopke Hoekstra there for 3rd position. And after 7 laps of the race, it's Van der Neer leading from Keersmakers, Hoekstra, then Paisler and Schroet in the top 5. And I believe we've just seen Peter Jones dropping down the order. Yeah, he's a long way down. There he is. He's actually just dropped behind Andrei Boratovsky there. So something's happened to Peter Jones, because he was running much higher up the order. He's had a spin. There we go. Yeah, he's had a big incident at turn 1, fighting with Fuller and Ezeroglu. Here's what happened. Ezeroglu turns in on Fuller, and they both go around, and Jones gets involved. Let's have a look at that from on board. So this is Ezeroglu. Ah, he just turns over, doesn't he? I'd have to see that from Fuller's point of view, but that looks very much like Ezeroglu's fault. Yeah, there we go, just turns over. Round goes Fuller, and Peter Jones would have just got involved in that. And here it is from on board Jones. And yeah, there wasn't really... he maybe could have done more to get out of the way, but you can't really blame him for that. That wasn't his fault. And he had actually dropped down the order a bit before. Oh, he does a separate spin. Now that's where he'd gone missing from the order before, because he was running 7th up until this point, and then he just, well, looks like he just locked up and spun it around. So Peter Jones, who we've seen having a couple of spins this season so far, famously crossing the line backwards at the end of the round at Austria, has now spun again a couple of times. One of them not his fault. Getting close for the lead between the two Raceview.nl GP cars, but look here, as Bastian Paisler's dropped back quite a bit from Wopke Hoekstra, and he's already being passed by the Racing Team Schroten cars here. Already Schroten's gone through. He's managing to hold off Klont for now. There he goes, holds off Klont for now. But what has happened to to Bastian Paisler, who's dropped off the back of Roy Schroten? Or not Roy Schroten, Wopke Hoekstra, that's it. He was right on him, and he's just going to lose it mid-corner, is he? Yeah, there we go. Just loses it mid-corner and goes over the grass. So that's the mistake he made. And now he's between the two Racing Team Schroten cars as we head down the straight. And slipstreaming his way closer again to Roy Schroten, but he's too far back for now. Many spins so far in this race. It seems that the rear end of these cars is quite unstable here, but a lot of drivers like a car that's very unstable, and they'll be pushing the setups and making the car so that it's just drivable but quick. And that's why you'll see drivers making errors here, and that's probably why the cars seem so unsettled today as well. The key is to find a balance where the cars aren't so unstable that they're uncontrollable, but they're still quick. And that's a lot easier said than done, I can tell you that. Getting very close for the lead of this race now, but I'm not sure if the Raceview.nl GP cars will attack each other at this stage in the race. We haven't even approached the pit stop window yet. But here now goes Bastian Paisler. This is for 4th position. Bastian Paisler on Roy Schroten. Goes to the outside. Schroten moves across. That was robust defence. They're still side by side as they go through turn 1. They're still side by side through turn 2. There's slight contact. And there's more contact on the exit. And somehow they don't properly come together. They don't lock wheels and they don't spin. But that was very close between the two cars there. And a bit treacherous. but they keep it going. Down the back straight they go, and Bastian Paisler needs to use the rest of this lap to set up for another overtake opportunity. And as we're on lap 10 of this race, it's Van der Neert leading from Keersmakers, Hoekstra, Schroten, Paisler, Klont, Vasil, De Vries, De Chutis, Ezeroglu, Fuller, Boratowski, Jones, Onwin, Stanford and Dan Hertz. Those are the 16 drivers still running, and we've lost Roland Turt. I'll have a look at that in a minute. But after I've seen this straight, because I'm pretty sure that Bastian Paisler is going to attack Roy Schroten. Here he goes. And Paisler is already alongside him. This should be a clean and easy overtake with the overspeed, with the slipstream. Oh, wow. Well, through he goes, but Roy Schroten gave him a little tap there. And that was very nearly a disaster as they went down the straight. That was very clumsy, but he got it through safely, and Bastian Paisler's back up to 4th position. Now, what happened to Roland Turt? We didn't see when he retired from this race, but he is out, and it was at turn 1. He's turned in, he's gone over the curb, he's lost the rear end, and he may have lost the engine, or he may have given up. But that was that there for Roland Turt, who will be classified 17th. Wow, this is close for the lead now. Van der Neert and Keersmakers very close. But again, I wouldn't say they're going to attack at this stage in the race. It would be very risky for the two teammates. And I can imagine that if there is going to be a change, it'll be in the pit stop stage of the race. Now here they go across the start-finish line for another lap, and the gap between them is less than 0.4 of a second. Still extremely close, but still probably not fighting. It'd probably be wise for Keersmakers to relinquish or to release the pressure a bit from the back of Van der Neert's car, so that no mistakes are made, unless Keersmakers is actually attacking Van der Neert for the lead of the race here. We'll have to see exactly what they're doing. If Keersmakers goes for a move, we know exactly what they're doing. But you need to be careful, because rule 1 of motorsport is to never hit your teammate. However, these two, of course, very, very quick and very fair drivers, and I wouldn't expect them to come together. And the gap between Paisler and Schroten is at about 0.7 now, so not really at risk. Paisler's getting away from Schroten now, as we expected he would. He was only really with him because of a mistake he made earlier on, and Paisler definitely seems to have the pace this round. I believe we may have had a move further back, as Theodoros Ezeroglu, I think, has switched with Andrei Boratowski. Well, there is Ezeroglu, and where is that? That's Stanford. Oh, and Ezeroglu spins. So Ezeroglu has spun, and Peter Jones has gone through. Let's watch this as Ezeroglu gets over the grass and spins the car around. And Peter Jones did a good job of avoiding that. Let's have a look. From on board Peter Jones's car, this is what he would have seen here. Oh, where do you go? That's where you go. Very good. And he gets past him and up into 12th, and actually pits now. So Peter Jones into the pits, as is Theodoros Ezeroglu on those 1 tyres. Both of those guys have had a couple of spins so far, so it makes sense that they'd be pitting now to repair, to replace those ruined tyres. And I'm expecting the big guys to pit in a couple of laps now. We're on lap 13 out of 29, so getting close to pit stop stages. And do either of the front running cars pit this time around? Remember, they need to pit on different laps because they're teammates. And no, they both stay out. Now, what about any of these guys further back? Well, Paisler and Schroten do not pit. And as they cross the line, the gap between them looks to have come out slightly further now. Indeed, it's 1.2 seconds, so no real challenge there. Is that another car in the pits? I see it's one of the Hutts, so there'll be a lap down. Indeed, it must be Dan Hutt, because Roland Hutt is out of the race. There's Dan Hutt emerging from the pits again. And I believe that Mark Fuller has made up a place on that lap. Probably due to a pit stop. Here come the rest of the order. There's Dan Hutt, who's just emerged from the pits. Back to the front. When will either of the Kears makers, or will either of the RaceView.nl GP cars pit? It'll be soon, I expect. Stefano Amsterdam says, for goodness sake, the PC crashed. That's a big shame. I don't think you're a driver in this. I don't know. That indicates that you're a driver in this league. Who are you exactly? Sorry about that. But anyway, into the pits comes Lauren Kearsmakers now. So I said they pit soon, and indeed Kearsmakers is in to change tyres. And as he, there we go, he changes sets and he's going to exit the pits now. And where does he come out? Does he come out in clean air? Also pitting, that's Roy Schroten there. And Roy Vizil, so the two Roys have pitted. Vizil locking up the tyres. And in comes Gerrit de Vries. Now, where did Kearsmakers come out there? He is out in clean air, just ahead of Dan Hutt, but a lap ahead of him. So Lauren Kearsmakers is 6th in the order here, but we're not expecting that to be his proper. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's the Tutus who's spun again. So the Tutus has been off, and it looks as if he's just lost grip mid-corner. I've seen that happening all day, in fact. That seems to be a difficult corner to find grip in, and the Tutus just demonstrates that by losing all of that rear traction and spinning the car around. And losing a place now to Lauren Kearsmakers, who goes back up to 5th place. Into the pits this time around comes Van der Neert. And Hoekstra is in, as is Peisler. So several guys into the pits this time around. That is Menno Klont. And here goes Kearsmakers. Does he take the lead of the race with the undercut? Or does Van der Neert still get out in front? We'll see. As he comes round, I've lost Kearsmakers. Well, here he is. And where's Van der Neert? Yeah, indeed. Look, Kearsmakers is going to claim the lead of the race. Lauren Kearsmakers, they're side by side for the lead. The RaceView.nl GP cars. And they spin. They both spin. Well, Kearsmakers does a half spin. Van der Neert does a full spin. Through goes Hoekstra. And Kearsmakers leads the race. That's drama up front. As through as well goes to Tutus, who hasn't yet stopped. Actually, that's Hoekstra. There's the Tutus. So Hoekstra is now up into 2nd place. And did they make contact? I didn't think they did. But let's have another look. Yeah, they must have done. Here's on board with Van der Neert coming out the pits. He locks up. Oh, he tags. In fact, I'm going to do a still here. Now that's the point where they made contact. I don't know if they did make contact at all. I reckon the hitboxes made contact. But I don't think that the actual cars made contact there. I'm trying to find a camera view that proves that. I don't think we're going to find one. But yeah, look there, you can see the cars did not make contact at all. It's just that the hitboxes registered a hit, and they both got spun around. Well, half spin for Kearsmakers, he kept the lead of the race. But what a disaster there for the RaceView.nl GP guys, and not really anyone's fault, because they didn't technically make contact. And that's a big shame there. But they might still be able to salvage a 1-2 from this if Van der Neert can fight for this. If he can fight his way past Wopke Hoekstra. Watch this in a straight line. He's going to the inside. And Danny Van der Neert is going to take back 2nd position. There he goes. Van der Neert takes back 2nd place. And Hoekstra now is under attack from Roy Schroten. This is very close here. For 2nd, 3rd and 4th overall, effectively. And did De Tutus pit on that lap? No, he didn't. So De Tutus still running round in a much higher position than he should be. Bastian Paisler lost a bit of time in all of that as well, because Roy Schroeten's ahead of him. Now down the back straight here is Lorenzo De Chutis, who hasn't stopped yet, as Dan Hutt runs wide there trying to get out of the way. Schroeten takes a look at Keersmakers, who's... oh no, Van der Neert's actually just lost out to Hoekstra again. So Van der Neert back behind Hoekstra, and does the number 11 car of Roy Schroeten capitalise on this as we head down the straight? I think he might. I think I was looking away when Van der Neert and Hoekstra swap places again, as into the pits now finally comes De Chutis. But let's watch Schroeten down the straight. Schroeten attacking Van der Neert and also defending his Hoekstra. And as we head down into turn 1, who's going to brake latest? They all stay in the same positions just. And as we head into the twisty part, I'm going to take this opportunity to take a look back at exactly when Hoekstra got back past Van der Neert. Was it when Dan Hutt was trying to get her out of the way? And if so, did Hutt do anything wrong? Well, here we go. Now this is Van der Neert locking up. Yeah, that was not the fault of Dan Hutt, but still it allowed Wopke Hoekstra to get back through into what was effectively second position. Here's what he saw of that. There we go, easy peasy. Through he goes, second place. Very nice. And Van der Neert has been having a pretty treacherous day so far. And they're still nose to tail here, these three cars. And that's allowing Laurent Keersmakers to get away into the lead of the race. It looked as if he was going to get the lead anyway with the undercut. But now there's going to be no fight between the Raceview.nl GP cars due to what was effectively a glitch. Onto the start-finish straight we go, and watch Van der Neert and Schroeten again trying to slipstream Wopke Hoekstra into turn 1, and Van der Neert goes for it on the inside, but he's too far back. That was speculative. Now watch him taking much shallower lines than Schroeten through, or than Hoekstra through here. He's trying to get a switch back. It's wide in, tight out. So, Hoekstra second, Van der Neert third, Schroeten fourth as we go onto the back straight again. In fact, the full order at this stage in the race, I can probably say it confidently, seeing as I believe everyone's stopped, is Keersmakers, Hoekstra, Van der Neert, Schroeten, Paisler, Klont, Vizil, De Chutis, Boratovski, Jones, and then De Vries, Fuller, Ezeroglu. Oh, look at Schroeten very close to the back of Van der Neert. And then after Ezeroglu in 13th, we have Stamford and Onwin, and we've lost Dan Hutt. So that means everyone who finishes this race now will score points. And when I get a safe point to look at what happened to Dan Hutt, I will do. But that means both of the Hutts are out now. Again, very defensive down the straight. Wopke Hoekstra and Danny Van der Neert trying to break the toe, and through on the inside goes Van der Neert. Does he break later? Yes, Van der Neert up into second. There he goes, and Hoekstra can do nothing about that. Danny Van der Neert is up into second position again. It's a Raceview.nl GP 1-2 so far. Let's have a look at that from on board. Here's what Hoekstra saw of it. Well, there's Van der Neert going through on the inside. He saw him coming in the mirror, and then he just dived and went through. And Hoekstra couldn't have done anything about that. Watch this from on board Van der Neert. He had the overspeed, he had the inside. And Danny Van der Neert had second place. There he goes. Now what happened to Dan Hutt? Has he just retired in the pit lane? Or is he still in the race? I think he might still be in the race actually. Yeah, there we go. He's just made a second pit stop, so there may have been damage. Let me confirm that. No, he just stopped. That's a weird place to stop. That's not his pit box, is it? Yeah, look, he's just... His engine's been off for a very long time. And was that maybe damage repair? I'm not entirely sure what's happened there, but anyway, he's back in the race now in 16th place. Last of the runners so far, or at the minute. Now down the straight again, watch Hoekstra, Van der Neer and Schroten. There's going to be no overtake this time around, I believe. And interestingly, at this point in the race, if the order was to finish as it is now, Peter Jones would again claim pole position for race 2 by finishing 10th in this race, and he'd be joined by Andrei Boratovsky on the front row of the grid. So not a great race for Peter Jones so far. He's had a couple of spins and incidents, but the silver lining is that he's going to have a good result, a good starting position rather, for race 2 if everything finishes as it is now. Slight contact there between Schroten and Hoekstra. Schroten slightly nudging the back of Hoekstra's car. And needs to be careful about that, because these are single seaters and they're not designed to touch each other. That can be quite dangerous, and it can really unsettle cars. And actually it's not beneficial for Schroten either. He really needed to just focus on sticking with Wopke Hoekstra through there. Now down the straight, he is very close, and he's taking a look to the outside, but there's no room there to go through. But that was close, and there might well be an opportunity for Schroten to pass Hoekstra soon. This is for 3rd place and the last position on the podium. We're on lap 22 out of 29 of this race, and still it's incredibly close between 2nd, 3rd and 4th, with Bastian Paisler not too far behind them either. They're going down the back straight again, and there's a slight lock-up from Van der Neer. He needs to be careful about that, because that's how he lost 2nd place the last time. And again, Schroten very close to the back of Hoekstra through there. He just needs to stick with him. Hoekstra's actually made a slight error there, slight wiggle. Now as we head out onto the back straight, can Schroten slipstream Hoekstra? He won't be helped by the fact that Hoekstra himself is slipstreaming Van der Neer up ahead. And in fact, Hoekstra seems closer to Van der Neer than Schroten is to Hoekstra this time around. Will Hoekstra have a go for 2nd? As they go down the straight, he's not going to be close enough, but that was a big turn of speed there. I wasn't expecting him to be quite that much quicker, but he managed it. In fact, Bastian Paisler's right in this battle now. So Bastian just behind Roy Schroten, he's right in it. And it's now a battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th here. Look at this, 4-car chain towards the end of this race. Do we have some changes still to witness here? We might well do. Oh, was there an incident? Yes, there was. Roy Schroten spun. I thought I heard something weird happening. Oh, is he going to take off his teammate? Yes! Menno Klont goes off. Wow, well, he rally styles his way back into that position, but that was clumsy. Let's have a look at what happened. So Roy Schroten's gone for a double spin here, all on his own. No contact from behind. He's just locked it up and spun it around. That's a double spin from Roy Schroten. And now he's going to... oh, yeah, wow. His teammate, Menno, had nowhere to go. Let's have a look at how that looked from Menno. Oh, he just sees... Yeah, just sees his teammate coming back across. But probably wouldn't have made it anyway. He really needed to back off more than that, did Menno. So it was not really 100% blame to either of them there. And is Schroten going to go back past Klont here? I don't think so. Here's Hoekstra still on the back of Van der Neer for 2nd. Although I'm afraid Schroten's rather spoilt the 4-car chain. It's now just a battle for 2nd again. And we've lost Gerrit de Vries. Now, how's de Vries retired from this race? De Vries is our latest retirement, and there he is. Now how has that happened? Oh, he's lost his rear wing. Now how... Right, so there's been an accident involving Gerrit De Vries. And how's this happened? Just fast forwarding through the lap so we can see exactly why Gerrit De Vries is no longer still racing. There, right. So De Vries, he's going to lose it mid-corner. There he goes. Goes slightly too wide, misses the apex, loses it, and backs it into the barrier. And then I take it there was just too much damage. And although he returned to the pits, he retired from the race nonetheless. Indeed he did. So Gerrit is out. And that means we have 15 drivers remaining in this race. There was Keersmakers lapping onward. And Hoekstra is still close to the back of Van der Neert for second. Lap 25 of 29 now, not long to go. And Hoekstra needs to do something about Van der Neert soon if he's going to get this second position away from Danny. Down the back straight they go, and he's still getting ever closer to the back of Danny Van der Neert's car. Van der Neert takes a slightly different line there, slightly wider through the hairpins. Hoekstra getting right on him, and will Hoekstra be in slipstreaming range as we head down the start-finish straight? Well, he'll definitely be in slipstreaming range, but can he get past him with the slipstream? We're about to find out. Wopke Hoekstra going for second. They were a bit all over the place going onto the oval, but here comes Wopke Hoekstra now with the overspeed, with the slipstream. Which way is he going to go? Surely to the outside. There's no room to the inside there. And Wopke Hoekstra is alongside Danny Van der Neert for second place. Van der Neert's going to defend on the inside. He locks up the tyres a bit. And he keeps it for now, but he locks up and he goes off. So Van der Neert's made a mistake, and through into second goes Wopke Hoekstra. We saw that Van der Neert was a little bit out of control. Maybe he's losing tyre life, but watch this. He's got over the curb, he's had a twitch, and he's gone over the grass, and he's lost second place. Here's what Wopke saw of it. He would have thought that was Christmas there. And Wopke Hoekstra has been gifted second place. And Van der Neert might come under attack, yeah, from Bastian Paisler. We'll see what the gap is at the end of this lap. And Van der Neert needs to make sure he doesn't make any more mistakes now. He's made quite a few already. So, out through the final corner they go, and I'm interested in the gap between both Hoekstra and Van der Neert, and then Van der Neert and Paisler. In the slipstream, Van der Neert getting closer to Hoekstra again. This is not over yet for second, and Van der Neert goes to the outside. We know he's very good on the brakes into turn one, and he gets him back. A good move there from Van der Neert. Does he make the same mistake again? No, he doesn't. So Van der Neert gets it, makes it stick. This is a great battle in the closing stages. Hoekstra took another look, but there's no room there. And here's that move on board with Van der Neert first, as he uses the slipstream, goes around the outside, and he's going to brake later and get the place. There he goes, moves across to defend, and he gets second. Here's what Hoekstra saw of that. Watch Van der Neert suddenly appear in his mirrors. There he is, like a shark in the movie Jaws. To the outside he goes. And you see he brakes so late. You see smoke coming off the brakes. But again, Hoekstra is close to him. They might be swapping all the way to the flag here. There's Paisler lapping... was that lapping Boratovsky? It may well have been. Actually, I think it was Stanford. Down the straight. What can Hoekstra do about what just happened there? We're on the penultimate lap of the race now. Well, when they cross the line, there we go. Penultimate lap has started. And Hoekstra is still less than 0.4 of a second behind Van der Neer. This has been a cracking scrap for second position between these two stalwarts of the championship. And it's certainly not over yet. So, the order at this stage in the race is Keersmakers leading from Van der Neer, then Hoekstra, Paisler, Klont, Schroten, De Chutis, Vizil, Boratowski, Jones, Fuller, Ezeroglu, Stanford, Onwin and Dan Hurt. There are 15 drivers still running in this race from the 19 who started it. And you're watching the fight for second place. First place, the gap is now at about 10 seconds between Keersmakers and Van der Neer after the unfortunate, very unfortunate incident that they had earlier on. And now out around the final corner they go. And Danny Van der Neer is still just ahead of Wopke Hoekstra. The gap being 0.8 of a second on this lap. And this is the final lap now. The last chance for Hoekstra to do anything about it. Final lap, and Van der Neer goes slightly wide there, but keeps it in. And I think he might be slightly too far ahead of Hoekstra for anything else to happen. Unless Van der Neer makes another mistake, which isn't unlikely. We've seen the cars are very unsettled at this track. But so far so good for Danny Van der Neer as they go onto the back straight. And have we just had a change for 5th place? Yeah, we have, because Menno Klont's had a spin. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, Menno's just gone. Yeah, he's just lost grip. I told you the cars were a bit unsettled here. He's gone into the gravel. And at the front of the field, Laurent Keersmakers wins the race. So Laurent Keersmakers is coming round the final corner now. And Keersmakers is going to take the checkered flag. There he goes. Laurent Keersmakers wins at Indianapolis. Keersmakers has won it. Second place is going to be Danny Van der Neer just from Wopke Hoekstra. It was a close battle all the way to the finish. But it's a 1-2 for RaceView.nl GP. Wopke Hoekstra is third. There's Keersmakers doing donuts up the road. Bastian Paisler is fourth. Following them across the line is Roy Schroten in 5th. Then it's going to be Menno Klont, who spun on the final lap of the race to lose 5th place. Klont is 6th. It's going to be Lorenzo De Chutis in 7th position here. 8th is going to go the way of Roy Vizil there. And then 9th, and on the front row of the grid, will be Andrei Boratowski driving a quiet race there. 9th place. 10th, and the reverse grid pole is going to be Peter Jones, who was running 7th earlier on until he had a spin. And then was involved in another accident later on in the race. 11th is Mark Fuller. 12th will be Theodoros Ezeroglu, another driver who we've seen spinning a couple of times. And he might do it again, I see, because he's gone into the gravel, but he's managed to save it. And he only has one corner left to go. That's a very tight line. He's going into the pit. Now what's he doing there? This is the final lap of the race. Well, unless, actually I think what's happened is that Ezeroglu's been lapped. Let me double check that. This is going to look a bit unprofessional. Oh, he hadn't been lapped. He's just decided to finish in the pit lane. In fact, will he be classified? He's not going to cross the line unless he makes this pit stop and then crosses the line. But that's very weird. I'm not sure why he's pulled into the pits, because that was his final lap. Well, he's going to cross the line now. There he goes. So Ezeroglu does finish the race in the pit lane. How bizarre. Anyway, 13th and a lap down was Eric Stanford. He was followed by Casper Onwin, who was 14th and a lap down. Then 15th was Dan Hurt. And then out of the race we lost Gerrit de Vries, Roland Hurt, Marcel Burr and Kevin Peters. That was a very exciting race there. But it's all over, and it went the way of Laurent Keersmakers. Don't go anywhere, because we have another race coming up soon. Race 2 from the Indianapolis GP circuit coming up very shortly. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Indianapolis for the race 2 here of the WCS League GP series. We saw just now a fantastic race 1, a very close race between several drivers for second position, and a close race out front between the two RaceView.nl GP guys until they sort of came together after the pit stop stages. I say sort of came together because they sort of didn't at the same time. But anyway. So in race 2 here, we're going to have a partially reversed grid. The top 10 drivers from the order of race 1 are going to be reversed to make up the grid positions for the start of race 2 here. And then we're going to be ready for the start of race 2. It'll be Peter Jones on pole, I believe, followed by Andrei Boratovsky. We're just riding on board Lauren Kiersmakers here as he shows us this circuit. Turns 1 and 2 is a chicane leading off the oval. In fact, there's a guy obviously doing the oval now, which is a bit bizarre. Now, who's doing the oval there? I'm not entirely sure where they're going. Trying to switch through the cars now. It's Gerrit de Vries, who appears to be doing the full Indianapolis oval backwards. I have no idea why he's doing that. Well, that's weird. He's going to rejoin the circuit just after this corner here. And there's where the other circuit comes on, the actual circuit. Does he go back into the pits? No, he's just done the full oval. I'd be amazed if his lap time counted. As he crosses the line, that's an extremely weird lap from Gerrit de Vries. And now he's going to crash. Oh, that was violent. Okay, I have no idea what Gerrit de Vries was doing there, but it was entertaining. Off the road there is one of the cars run by WTF Racing. Excuse the name. Seems we only have 15 drivers at the minute, and I can't see any mention of Bastian Peisler, which is a a bit worrying. One of the top drivers from race 1 is not here at the minute. In fact, where's Boratovsky? Oh, Boratovsky is there as well. But we're missing 4 drivers. Roland Hutt is another one of them. I'm trying to work out who the others are, but it's very difficult to see. Eric Stanford is another. And Kevin Peters we've lost. Okay, so those are the 4 drivers we've lost for this race. And hopefully some of those are going to make it back in. I'm not sure if any of them are. But it means we're going to have 15 drivers for the start of race 2, it seems. So the warm-up session is being shown the checkered flag now, and that means that we're about to get underway for the formation lap of race 2. If you're watching, I hope you're enjoying. Leave us a comment, and I will read out several of them during this race whenever I get time. Whenever there's a slow period in the race, if there's a slow period in the race. Remember, race 2 is always even more hectic than race 1 due to the partially reversed grid. Partially reversed grid, meaning of course that the person who finished 10th in race 1 will start first, the person who finished first in race 1 will start 10th, and everyone between them will be doing much the same thing. They will be swapping their positions, so 9th will be 2nd and 2nd will be 9th, and so on and so forth. He who is 10th shall be first, and he who is first shall be 10th. Across the line to end the warm-up lap comes Roy Vizil there, and I believe that means that we're about to get going for the formation lap of race 2. Indeed, here we go. So I'm going to go through the order now and show you the cars for this race. Let me just find pole. There's pole. This is Peter Jones. So Peter will be starting from first position here. He will be followed in this race by Andrei Boratovsky, then Roy Vizil, Lorenzo De Chutis, Menno Klont, Roy Schroten, Wopke Hoekstra, Danny van der Neert, our race 1 winner, Laurent Keersmakers, and then Mark Fuller, Theodoros Ezeroglu, Casper Onwin, Sven de Vries, and Sven de Vries, I believe, is replacing Bastian Peisler. Because, oh no, De Vries, no, yeah, he is, because there's, actually, yeah, where is the other WTF1 car, Marcel Baer? Yeah, Marcel Baer's gone, and he's been replaced here by Sven de Vries. Then we have Dan Hurt and Gerrit de Vries. And I don't know why Sven is starting out of Dan and Gerrit, seeing as he didn't contest race 1. So away from the grid they go. Peter Jones will dictate the pace on this formation lap. He tends to do quite fast formation laps, Peter does. He likes to get the tyres up to temperature before the start of the race. And he will be followed here by Andrei Boratovsky, so watch Boratovsky behind him at the start. Can Boratovsky get the jump? We'll have to see. This, of course, only the formation lap, no overtaking. It's going to just be single file to the grid, seeing the track one last time before they see it in anger. And then we will prepare for the race to get underway. Boratovsky right under his gearbox here, just showing him I'm here. There is Boratovsky in second place, just warming his tyres. There's Roy Vizil in third place, league organiser. Fourth place there, Lorenzo De Chutis. Won one of the rounds in Turkey, and then didn't turn up for round 2, which is a shame. There's Menno Klont and his teammate Roy Schroten in a team run by Schroten. There's Wopke Hoekstra, Danny van der Neert, and Laurent Keersmakers, our race 1 winner. Starting from 10th there, moved up to 10th after we lost Bastian Peisler. That's one of the SD racing cars, and that is Mark Fuller. So Fuller will be starting from 10th. Now, let's watch Peter Jones lining up at the front of the order. He will start in the first place grid slot, and this will really get the heart pumping. Does a practice start, and there is the first place grid slot. Here's last place straight to Vries. He will take up the last grid box which is just there. Now let's watch for the lights. When all 5 red lights come on and then extinguish, we will be underway. Watch the lights. Go! Away we go. It was a short hold, and the race has begun. Peter Jones gets away ahead, and Boratowski goes to the outside as we head towards turn 1. Watch the tutors behind as well, and Vasil fighting over third place. Vasil locks up slightly, and Boratowski has the inside line, but Jones leads the race. Jones gets the run and leads the race as round in the background goes Theodoros Ezeroglu. Peter Jones leads from Andre Boratowski. Roy Vasil is third, taking a look as watch the tutors side by side with Clont there, holding off Clont. And indeed he holds him off. In fact, Clont goes around, Clont spins. Also around goes Mark Fuller. Couple of guys going very wide in avoidance, understandably so. Slightly hectic first lap. Here's Peter Jones now, still leading the race from Boratowski. Boratowski under attack from Vasil. This is going to be crucial as they come onto the start-finish line, start-finish straight. And the slipstreaming starts to occur. It looks to me like Vasil is going to have a go here at Boratowski, and the quicker he can do that, the quicker he can get after Peter Jones. Jones, one of Vasil's main rivals in the point standings at the minute, on the joint second most points with, joint third most points with Clont, and through into second now goes Vasil. Vasil is through to second, and Boratowski is down to third. As off in the background goes Keersmakers, so Keersmakers has run across the grass there. And have we had a server disconnection? It seems that we may have lost the server. No, in fact the cars are back. And off goes Mark Fuller. Now, does that indicate that the driver's got that lag spike as well? It might well do. I'm going to just have a look at... Oh, golly. Well, that was a couple of seconds ago. Don't panic. That was one that we've already seen. And I'll just put us back to real time. There we go. So that's all sorted. Roy Vasil is now attacking Peter Jones for the lead of this race. They're very close for first position here. Roy Vasil just behind Peter Jones as we head onto the straight. And in the slipstream, will we have a challenge for the lead here? Roy Vasil slipstreaming Peter Jones through the final corner. He's using the car ahead as a windbreak, and he's going for it. He's going to the outside. Did he just tag the back of Jones's car? It looks as if he may have done. Peter went a bit sideways there, but Vasil is on the outside. Now, does Peter outbrake him? Does he keep there? He does, and he loses it. He goes onto the grass and through into the lead. As off in the background goes the tutors, but through into the lead goes Roy Vasil. Let's have a look at how this race has unfolded so far. Now, first of all, how did Ezeroglu spin at turn 1? Was he tagged? Oh, contact in the side. And was that his fault? That was Sven de Vries turning, well, a bit close. Oh, and Wopke Hoekstra got spun. Didn't see that. Yeah, look at that. Hoekstra spun after contact with Roy Schroten. Whoa, got clobbered in the back as well. Spins around. Now, who hit him? Was it Keersmakers? Oh, it was! Keersmakers hit him. So, drama for a couple of championship contenders there. Now, what about Clont's incident? Clont ran into the back of the tutors and then got pitched into a spin by his teammate. Not his teammate's fault. And also around went Mark Fuller. Oh, and as he got going, he clipped the back of Danny van der Neert's car as well. Watch this. Oh, it's the tutors. Innocent victim. And Roy Schroten as well. Oh. And Van der Neert, bang, got clobbered in the side and the front. Here's Mark Fuller, spinning completely on his own. There we go. Then as the lap went on, we had a change for second position with Roy Vazil slipstreaming his way past Andrei Boratovsky. Here's how that looked. And through he went into second. There he goes. Straightforward pass. And then later on in the lap, he started attacking for the lead. Let's go back and have a look at that. Yeah, here it is. So this is Jones under attack from Vazil. Vazil going to the outside and going around him. Jones tried to defend, but he went over the curb, and that unsettled the car. He did well to keep it within the white lines, but Vazil had the place. Here's the whole thing on board with Vazil. Oh, he did tag the back of Jones's car, but I think again that was just the hitbox being slightly wider than the car. He timed that to perfection, and the hitbox didn't agree. Oh wow, that was ambitious from Jones, but I think it would have worked if there wasn't a curb there. But there was a curb there, so that's irrelevant. So Vazil leads this race now from Jones in second. Third place is Wopke Hoekstra, and who's that in fourth? Sven de Vries. De Vries is already up to fourth, and he's going for third. This is amazing from 13th on the grid. Sven de Vries is up to third. There he goes. Fantastic. Wopke Hoekstra comes back at him, but he's too far back. There's Keersmakers. Oh, actually, that's Hoekstra. So that was De Tutis there, fighting for third. Let's have a look at that. I can't believe that. Well, actually, what's happened to the Racing Team Schroten guys? I'll have a look at that in a minute. But look at this from Sven de Vries, slipstreaming De Tutis, and just fighting past him. There he goes, and Sven de Vries putting on a great show so far. How did he get up there? Was there another incident, or well, he's fifth at this point, and I believe that there may have been a couple of people losing time. Or did he just fight his way through? Oh, he just fought his way... Wait, what? I'm not quite understanding what I'm seeing here. Oh, right, there's what happened. Boratovsky, that's the driver who was missing, made a mistake. So Boratovsky ran wide, went off, and did he hit the wall? Yes, he did, quite hard there. And got in the way of Keersmakers when he rejoined. Wow, Keersmakers! That was messy. Let's have a look at that. So, Keersmakers would have had nowhere to go when Boratovsky rejoined. Now, Boratovsky couldn't have rejoined in any other way because he... What was Keersmakers doing? He was just following him there. I tell you what, Keersmakers just getting momentarily hypnotised, it seems, as De Tutis reclaims third. De Tutis has gone back to third. Let's have a look at that. This is going to be plain and simple. There he goes, just slipstreams his way back through. A clean overtake for third position. There he goes. And he's in second. He's in second. What's happened to Vazil? Well, Roy Vazil has dropped to sixth. Oh, he spun. All on his own. Vazil lost control of the car. Around he went, and Peter Jones retakes the lead of the race. So drama up in front. Roy Vazil locked up, lost control of the car in a very similar way to the way that Peter did in race 1. And Peter has seen that happening and thought, I know how easy it is to make that mistake, but he's gone through anyway, into the lead of the race. And through into second there went De Tutis, through into third went De Vries. And I'm afraid out of this race is Boratovsky now after that incident earlier. Did he have a separate incident as well? No, he just retired on the spot. And Van der Neert's dropped back. Van der Neert's in 14th place. Oh, he pitted without a front wing. How's that happened? He's had an accident. Oh, over the gravel and the grass. Now, was it this accident that caused it? Yes, because as he rejoined, he lost control and went into the barrier hard. But he was only running 12th when that happened. So, why was he running 12th in the first place? Oh, well, that was Mark Fuller spinning off there and backing it into the wall. But what had happened? Oh, De Vries as well. We've had so many drivers going off here. Ah, it was De Vries into the back of Van der Neert. That was earlier on. But De Vries and Van der Neert came together. And also going off in the back. Oh, it was Klont and Van der Neert. And then, no, De Vries and Van der Neert. And then Klont went off in avoidance. Got it. There he goes. Well, that was very, very weird. And here's what Klont saw of all of that. He was the innocent victim. and just came in and had nowhere to go. And Sven de Vries, no, Gerrit de Vries rather. There he goes, into the back of Danny van der Neer. Well, this has been a bit of a messy race so far, but if I go back to real time, de Vries is down in 13th position. Here's the leader, Peter Jones. He's being followed. That's De Chutis in second, followed by Sven de Vries in third, who is not related to Gerrit de Vries, as far as I know. In fact, he isn't, because he's American and Gerrit is Dutch. To the outside now goes Sven de Vries towards turn 1. Attempts to get around the outside of De Chutis. He's still there, but De Chutis will have the inside for the next corner, and De Chutis keeps the place. De Vries decided he was going to have another look, but he wasn't close enough. Hoekstra's dropped back a couple of places. Let's keep looking back through the order. Well, this has been an exciting race so far, very unpredictable. We're on lap 8 of 14 here, and the order is Jones, De Chutis, De Vries, Keersmakers, Vizil, Hoekstra, Schroten, Klont, Onwin, Ezeroglu, Hutt, Fuller, De Vries and van der Neer. And our only retirement so far is Boratovski, who started on the front row of the grid. And this battle for second is letting Peter Jones get away in the distance. And I must say... Oh, and off goes Lorenzo De Chutis. He's been through the gravel. He's going to lose second and maybe third here as well. I think he will lose third, because Keersmakers is on the outside, and De Chutis has made one mistake and lost 2 positions in an awkward point on the track. But can he slipstream his way back through? He's on the inside, and it's not over yet. They might well go 3 wide here. Watch this, as they do, very nearly. De Chutis slipstreaming, and they're side by side towards turn 1. That is 3 wide there. And they're going to come together! Contact! And off goes Keersmakers. Keersmakers runs across the grass. And that was drama into turn 1 there. We all knew that was going to go wrong. We could see it coming. Let's have a look back at how that all started. It all started with De Chutis. Look at this, just running wide. Running through the gravel. And losing out. There's De Vries on the inside, and here comes Keersmakers on the outside. And then into turn 1, they remained side by side. They were very, very close, squabbling for position. De Chutis decided to slipstream and get back in on the action, and they went 3 wide, and it was just a sandwich. That was very Singapore 2017 like. Yeah, nothing at all that Sven de Vries did wrong. He just saw his rivals take each other off on the outside. If anyone was to blame, that would have been Laurent Keersmakers coming across on 2 cars. But I don't know if he actually, he must have known they were 3 wide there. But Keersmakers there coming across and causing his own demise there. And also demoting De Chutis. Actually, that's De Chutis there. So De Chutis hasn't lost a place in all of that. Now watch Vizil going for third. Vizil on the inside. And spins. So Vizil spins out of third place. Ooh, very nearly hit Wopke Hoekstra, who goes off. Hoekstra goes off in avoidance. Does Keersmaker go through? I think he will. He's on the outside. They're side by side. Keersmaker's going around the outside of Wopke Hoekstra. They're still side by side. First and second in the championship going into this round. And Laurent Keersmakers gets the place. Great racing. And Hoekstra comes back at him. Fantastic! This is one of the battles of the season so far, and Keersmakers does get the place. Now down the back straight, does Hoekstra come back at him? Not quite. Goodness. Well, let's have a look back at that before something else happens. Roy Vizil's right with them, but what a battle we just witnessed there in the opening part of this lap, as it all started with Vizil. He didn't even touch De Chutis. He just went off all on his own. And then here was Wopke Hoekstra probably going wide in avoidance. There he goes. He has to take a compromised line, and he gets out of the groove and goes over the grass. And through is going to go on Keersmakers to the outside. There he goes. And Hoekstra very nearly got the place back there, but Keersmaker's kept it on the inside. Fantastic. Hoekstra tried to come back at him, but Keersmaker's had the inside and kept the place. A brilliant move for Laurent Keersmaker's. Let's have a look at it from on board Keersmaker's, in fact, as you'll see this whole battle unfolding. You'll see Vasil spinning in the distance. You'll see Hoekstra going wide to avoid him. You'll see Keersmaker's now getting... Oh, he actually had a slight twitch. It probably would have been a lot easier if that hadn't happened. You'll see Keersmaker's going around the outside of Hoekstra. They were still side by side through this middle part of the course. Keersmaker's kept it. Hoekstra came back at him. But let's go back to real time now, as Keersmaker's kept it on the inside there. Let's go back to real time now and see if anything's changed. And indeed, where have they gone? They may well have come together here. Vasil and Hoekstra have dropped behind the Racing Team Schroepen cars. They may well have done. Well, Hoekstra certainly made a mistake. What's happened here? He was going slowly for a very long time. There was contact between the two, and he waited for him. Oh, yeah, it looks as if there was a slide, and Vasil went around. Let's have a look at that from on board. Oh, in fact, he collided the wall there. He was sliding for a very, very long time. It looks to me as if Hoekstra just made a mistake on the outside. He did. He lost control of the car, and Vasil went into the rear end of him and spun it around and collided the wall, but he got going again. And I tell you what Hoekstra was doing there. He was being very sporting and waiting for Vasil. If I was in that situation, I don't know if I would have done. But Hoekstra just choosing to wait so as to minimise the risk of a penalty, and that's a very sporting move there. Danny van der Neert's been lapped. I tell you what, Danny van der Neert's a lap down, and he's about to be lapped again here. And this has been a dreadful race for Danny van der Neert. We've actually lost Casper Onwin, so he's having an even worse race. What's happened to Onwin? Oh goodness, that's been a big crash. Now, how's that happened? That's occurred. Oh, he's had a flip. So Casper Onwin out of the penultimate corner has got over the curb. He's gone into the wall on the inside. Bang! And tumbles over once, twice, three times. Three times over goes Onwin. Here's what he would have seen from his driving view. Spins up the rear end, goes into the wall. Oh, tumbles over and over and over. Sky ground, sky ground. Ezeroglu would have got a good front row seat of that. There he goes. Boing, boing, boing. And out of the race goes Casper Onwin. So back to the action. There's Keersmaker's following De Tutis, and we're on the penultimate lap of the race here. Peter Jones is heading for his first GP win, and that's frustrating for me, especially seeing as he's my brother. So I really wanted to win a race before he did, but never mind. Well, no, I've won races, but only club star races. This is a much higher series than the races that I've won. And Peter Jones has benefited from the instance behind him to take control of this race. I'm not trying to say, though, that it's been a bad performance from him, because it certainly hasn't been. It's just very awkward to say that. I have to be professional with this. But anyway, back to the race. Let's watch Keersmaker's following De Tutis as they go onto the straight this time around. Will there be a move? He looks slightly too far behind. As we head onto the straight for the final, well, penultimate time. We're on to the final lap of the race now. Peter Jones onto the final lap of the race. His lead margin is 4.6 seconds. Now watch Keersmaker's going to the outside of De Tutis. He can't run all the way around the outside though. That would have been quite amazing. And have we had a change of position? No, not quite. I thought I saw something changing, but I didn't. And through the middle sector they go on this final lap of the race. Can Keersmaker's do anything else about De Tutis? Well, I know that if there's one driver who will be watching this race back after it's all said and done, It's going to be Peter Jones out in front. And my message to Peter is, why did you have to do that? This is the day that I've been dreading for a long time. The day that I have to commentate on my brother coming home to take the checkered flag. And I'm weirdly proud and very, very annoyed at the same time. Mainly very, very annoyed. And Peter Jones is going to win race 2 here at Indianapolis GP. He weaves across the line just to rub it in. And second place goes the way of Sven de Vries. Oh, big crash behind. That's Danny van der Neert showing his frustration. Third behind is just the Tutis ahead of Kiersmakers, who wallops into his teammate. That's just a bit of banter after the line. Roy Schroten is 5th, followed by Menno Klont, who's going to come home in 6th place in the other racing team Schroten car. Menno Klont is 6th, who holds off Roy Vazil for 7th, or who finishes 7th rather. 8th is going to be Theodoros Ezeroglu. Where's Wopke Hoekstra? Hoekstra was much higher than this. Hoekstra is going to finish 9th, so something happened to Hoekstra on that final lap. We'll have to have a look at what that was. 10th is Mark Fuller. 11th is going to be Dan Hurt. Just ahead of Gerrit de Vries. In fact, they're going to battle to the line, so can de Vries do anything about Dan Hurt here at the end? Through the final sector they go. I don't think de Vries can do anything about it unless he gets a really good slipstream, but it's not looking likely. And Dan Hurt's going to claim 11th position here. Final corner for them, there he goes. So it's going to be 11th for Dan Hurt, who goes very, very wide. And 12th place, I believe I see Peter Jones doing donuts there. 12th place for Gerrit de Vries. Was that Peter? No, that wasn't. That was someone else doing donuts altogether. Maybe Roy Vazil. But anyway, that's that for this race. And you see Mark Fuller there doing donuts at on the oval. Oh, being walloped by Theodoros Ezeroglu. Tumbling over and over. Doesn't matter, the race is over. And this is sim racing, you can do weird things like that. And there is Peter Jones doing donuts. He's won his first race victory at only 14 years of age. Can you imagine doing that? I certainly can't, because I never did. So that's that for the WCS League GP series. We're about to get some interviews with the leading drivers, with drivers in general rather. If you are a driver in that race and you're listening and you want to tell us how your race went, then that would be great. Just hop onto the WCS League TeamSpeak now and join me in the commentary booth. And I'm not looking forward to speaking to Peter Jones.
Connected.
So we're just going to the broadcast booth
Channel
now.
Switched.
I'm waiting for the first couple of drivers to come in for interviews.
User was moved
and guess
to your channel.
who is our first interviewee? It's our race 2 winner, very embarrassingly, and that's Peter Jones. Hello, Peter.
Hi, I've been waiting a long time to hear race winner.
Yes, absolutely, and you claimed it a long time before I did. So, yeah, you win, I suppose. How does that feel?
It's absolutely incredible, you know. As soon as I can't remember who it was, I'm so happy with that win. I can't remember who it was who overtook me, but he led for quite some time, and then I saw him spin.
Yeah,
and my
that was
heart skipped a beat. Yeah, Roy Vazil, I thought it was. And my heart skipped a beat when I saw that, and when I saw that the guys behind me were battling, because I thought if they're battling, that's going to take time out of them. So they're going to be slower than I am, so I could just pull away into the distance without any issues.
Well, you did it. And you did it by a big margin as well. That was probably quite a relaxed race after that.
Oh no, I wasn't relaxed at all. That was the most tense I think I've ever been during.
It always is, yeah. When you're leading the race, just explain how that feels. I know how it feels, but explain how that feels for people who don't.
It's kind of like one of those feelings of very nervous. So it's just, you literally can't think about anything else but being so nervous. And I was trying so hard not to make a mistake, and it ended up paying off, but it's the most nerve-wracking experience in racing, I think. Leading on the final lap is definitely, definitely up there.
Looking back to race 1 though, that didn't go quite as well for you. I saw a couple of spins. One was definitely not your fault. But yeah, talk us through the various incidents you had there.
Yeah, so race 1 didn't go too well for me. Immediately, even before turn 2, I came together with Lorenzo De Ciutis, who my game froze and I think I knocked him off wide, so that was why he was cutting across the gravel. And from then on it just seemed to get worse. I had a spin that was my own fault, and then I think maybe a lap later I came together with 2 other people I was trying to overtake, and that spun me again. And obviously after 2 spins I had very dirty tyres, so from then on it was just very difficult to control the car. I was locking up a lot. So I decided I would pit early and try and conserve the tyres from there. And from then on it was just try and keep it as clean as possible. And I did that, and I think I had 1 more spin actually, but I ended up being in 10th, which was exactly the position I needed to be in for race 2, which obviously I won, which is incredible.
Yeah, I suppose there is a definite silver lining from those race 1 incidents. Heading on to the rest of the series, actually, that puts you in really strong contention for the championship. I don't think, well, you're certainly not leading it after that, but you're one of the leaders. I think you're in the top 4 or 5. So what's the aim, I suppose? What do you see for the future of this series?
Not entirely sure if I'm going to be running for the championship, because I certainly don't have the pace of other people out there. But certainly maybe top 5 could be an opportunity. Maybe if that fails, I'm gonna set myself a target of finishing 6th or higher. So that's gonna be my aim, because I'm certainly not sure if I can challenge for the championship, but I can get closer than I've ever got.
Well, there we go. And okay, well, that was Peter Jones, race 2 winner. I don't know what else to say about that. That's quite embarrassing. But anyway, yeah, see you in a few minutes, I suppose, Peter.
Yep. See ya.
So next up, we're going to bring in the driver who did briefly lead that second race there, but ended up very unfortunately spinning the hopes away, and that is Roy Vazil. Hello, Roy.
Hey, hello.
I can imagine you're feeling quite disappointed about that last race there.
Yes and no. I had a disappointing race 1, which caused by wrong setup choices. I chose to go for a high wing setup, which didn't quite help me. I was a lot on the setup was a lot of understeered, so the fronts were wearing a lot and caused me to have a bad pace at all. For race 2, I took some risk with the wings. I was on 10 front wing, 25 rear wing, and yeah, in the beginning it was fine. I managed to do some great overtakes on the both cars in front of me, and got first. But yeah, on that point, my car decided to give me a lot of oversteer. And yeah, I spun with some braking on some braking points. Just too less wing on the rear, I think, and yeah, it was a risky wing choice, but yeah, it helped me. It helped me to get some great battles, get some good pace. I was quick, but unfortunately, the car wasn't stable enough to get the result I wanted. And by the way, congratulations with your brother. He managed to do a great win.
Yeah, I tell you what, having to commentate him crossing the line was quite embarrassing. But yeah, he drove a very clean race today. And how could you spin, Roy? How could you make me do that?
What? How you mean?
Commentate my brother winning the race. No one wants to do that.
It's awesome. Remember that.
Okay. Well, heading on to the next few rounds in the championship, you actually came into this round with the most points, disregarding drop scores. Do you still see yourself as a championship contender?
No. But yeah, I will race all rounds, I guess, and so that won't be a problem. But the guys in front are so quick. Look at Lauren Kiersmacher. He has a great setups all the time, and he is doing a good practice all day, all the time. And yeah, I think he will get the championship in the end. That's my prediction, but I'm not sure, of course. And I try to keep him away from the championship and take it myself, but it will be a hard battle.
Well, that's fantastic, and I look forward to the rest of the season. So yeah, see you then.
Yeah, see you there. Thank you for the broadcast.
No problem.
User was
Next up, we're going to bring in a driver who I believe only drove in the second race there, but did a very good job of it, and that is Sven de Vries. Hello, Sven.
Hello, what's up?
So, I'd speak to you about race 1, but you weren't there. Now, why was that?
I was still at work.
Okay, but you turned up for race 2 nonetheless, and, well, 13th to 2nd. Talk us through how you did that.
I mean, I hadn't driven them up before, but thankfully I've raced there in real life, so I knew the track pretty well. So I guess that kind of helped, knowing where to turn right and left, and what kind of turns are pretty much coming up. Other than that, thanks to Wopke for sending me a setup last minute. So it took me some time to get used to, like a couple laps, and then I got a little lucky with the start and avoiding some incidents. After that, I was able to put a decent pace in, pass some people, the vent, and just keep putting in the same lap times and come home in second.
Now, had you really done no practice at all here in this car before this race?
No, I've not. Menno asked me if I had time to race tonight, and I was able to come home on time from work to do race 2, and I figured, why not? I know the track. Give it a go.
That's quite astonishing. Are you intending to do any more? Yeah, are you intending to make race 1 next time?
I only race when I happen to have a short day at work. I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. so that I can leave work early enough to be home to sim race. So my sim racing nowadays is all dependent on getting home early from work, getting a little lucky here and there. So I'm not signed up for any series. If I happen to be home, I'll race. If I don't, then I guess I don't, and I'll just watch the live stream.
That's fantastic. Well, a fantastic race there from 13th to 2nd, and well, we hope to see you again in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too, and thanks for doing the broadcast. It's always fun to watch back, so keep up the good work.
No problem. Thank you for that.
User was moved to your
next
channel.
up, we're going to bring in the driver who came into this round as the championship leader and fought for strong positions today, and that is Wopke Hoekstra. Hello, Wopke. Hello, Wopke.
Hello.
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 Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear you as well.
All right, so Wopke, the weekend or the day started off with qualifying, of course. You qualified 8th. That's a little bit disappointing. Did you just not get on with the track, or hadn't you practiced much?
I guess it's a little bit of a combination of both. I didn't get enough practice in. Car turned in correctly for the track and to work on the track well. But in the end, yeah, it was all right. I think I could have done better, but I couldn't get the right lap in within the time that was given. Then after qualifying in warm-up, I started doing some other stuff to the setup, and I think that worked quite well. Because in the race we had at least a little bit more pace. It still wasn't great, but yeah, at least in race 1 I was able to get a podium. I think some people made a few small mistakes, and I just drove a clean race and did nothing wrong. Yeah, yeah, that's the best I could do. And I think the pace wasn't great, but I think overall the first race result was pretty good.
Yeah, you certainly raced better than you qualified, and you were right in the battle as well towards the end with Danny van der Neert. Are you disappointed that you couldn't finish second?
Not really, because I came from P8, so in the end P3 is pretty good, and
yeah, of course.
They just had the top speed. I mean, if he was 1 second behind me, he would just pass me on the straight, and if I was like 3/10 behind him, then I still couldn't do anything about it. So yeah, I guess we need to do some more work on the setup for next rounds if we want to compete for the win again. But yeah, I'm mainly disappointed about race 2, and not just because of the result, but also because of the way it happened in the end. Yeah, just I don't like to say it, but yeah, it wasn't great from my side, but also from a lot of other people as well. It was just a terrible race. Everything I saw around me was people crashing each other off, so that was a bit disappointing. And yeah, sometimes I got lucky. I gained a few positions, and then it was either me or someone else making another mistake, or bashing me, or me bashing someone off the track. So that's why it cost me a lot of positions in the end, and finished P9. So yeah, I had damage from the start because I had a crash with Royce Croton. I believe that he didn't give me enough room, but I still need to look at the replay, so not too sure about that. But that was a bit disappointing that my race was ruined from the start. I had big suspension damage, and yeah, that cost me a lot.
Well, I'm sure that we'll see you fighting hard from here on in. So you came into this round, of course, as the championship leader, but not in terms of points. Can I ask what happened last time out? Why we didn't see CM Tech cars on the grid?
Well, the idea was that Stefan. Well, I asked Stefan if he could substitute for me because I couldn't make it. Unfortunately, I had other obligations to go to, and of course, you're allowed to miss one round because you get 2 races spare anyway. So I asked Stefan, but he said he couldn't race. And well, Lorenzo was supposed to race, but he unfortunately couldn't make it in time either in the end. So I couldn't find a replacement for him. And in the end, Stefan turned up, but Enno Chubin was apparently driving in our car. So there was actually one CM Tech. But that caused Stefan to not race in the car, which is a bit disappointing since he finished P3. But yeah, from now on, I think we will be back. And yeah, let's hope we can get a good result in the end. I think it's not a big problem that we missed one round.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll see you back in the future.
Yeah, for sure. 2 weeks' time, I'll be back.
Fantastic. Well, see you then.
Right, see ya.
So that then is the end of today's broadcast. We hope you enjoyed it if you watched with us, and thank you for doing so. I believe this is also my last commentary with the league for a while, so I'd also like to say that it's been fantastic, and I'm thankful to Roy Vizil and to Menno Klont and to everyone who got me set up here, and I might well be back in the future, but I don't think it'll be for a while, and I hope someone else can broadcast for you instead. But for now, I have to say, see you, and I'm not sure when. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today, and goodbye.
Goodbye.